In this life, I'm the main character, right? Bold, charismatic, fit, mentally at peace, and confident. If you're like me, these are the traits that describe the best version of yourself, the image of yourself that you're striving towards. Like most people here though, we're not quite there yet and have a lot more work to do in order to reach this enlightened version of ourselves. There's been a growing trend on social media where people are starting to romanticize their lives and view themselves as the main character. And I've also seen a little bit of pushback on this because to some people it can come off a bit self-centered and a bit egotistical. Obviously no one's life is any more valuable than another's, and I'm not delusional enough to think that my story has any kind of significance in the vastness of this universe. However, taking on the approach of we're insignificant anyways, so why romanticize our lives is a bit nihilistic and is honestly a pretty sad lens to view life with. The way I see it, what's the problem with romanticizing your life and treating yourself like the main character? The fact of the matter is, each of us are the main characters of our own lives, even if we just might be supporting characters or NPCs of other people's lives. There's a word that comes to mind to help paint this picture, and that's Sonder, which is the realization that each and every single individual is living a life that's just as vivid and complex as yours. So what if we're insignificant in the grand scheme of the universe? You're alive now, and you only have one life, so why not take on that role as the main character? One of the best ways to become that main character of your life is to truly embrace the challenges and the journey in every step that you are taking towards your goals. It's difficult to appreciate the mundane task in your life when you're so focused on the end goal that you're not letting yourself be present with working towards that goal and appreciating the progress along the way. Think about your favorite book or movie. What if the author decided to just cut out all the character development arcs and build-up and just cut straight into the ending? The day is already saved, the protagonist was already at their best, and the payoff is diminished because we skipped the meaning behind the journey. What makes a good story isn't just the ending, but it's also how we get there. It's the buildup of suspense, buildup of drama, buildup of development of one's character, and it's that whole journey that makes a good story. And on top of that, what is the ending anyways? So when you're watching a movie and the credits start rolling up, everyone starts to get up and everyone leaves the theater, right? The movie's over. When you're done reading a book, you close the book up, you appreciate the story, but that story's over. Real life doesn't work that way, right? Even if you accomplish your biggest goals, life still moves on. It's not on a static timeline like fictional books or movies are. And since life keeps going, the key to becoming the main character of your own life is enjoying that journey. Wake up and enjoy the sunlight. Feel mysterious in a busy coffee shop. Come up with names for the different arcs you're going through in life. You're on a hobby arc, a side quest arc, a training arc, a healing and filler arc. These are all phases of life that we go through, so why not treat it like what it is? A movie of your life starring you, the main character. As a medical student, I can say that a lot of my peers and a lot of people just in the field in general really take on this negative attitude because the light at the end of the tunnel is so far away. We still have 4 years of medical school. We have at least 3 or 4 years of residency, if not longer, before we become an attending physician, and it just seems so out of reach and so far away. We're so focused on that end goal, the light at the end of the tunnel, we forget to appreciate the day-to-day and the journey getting there. And yeah, obviously medical school is super long and it is super difficult, and it only gets progressively worse and worse and worse as you go on through your journey. But this actually leads into what I wanted to talk about next. I know the way that I've been talking about becoming the main character and romanticizing your life and embracing that journey, right? That difficult journey, it's making it sound like life is this picture-perfect thing where it's just like the movies or it's just like the books, but we all know it's not like that, and that's not what I'm saying at all. The journey comes with both the good and the bad, the highs and the lows. Embrace the feeling of happiness, of sadness, of failure, of struggle, and of finally breaking through. Becoming the main character of your life means letting yourself be fully immersed in these feelings and experiences, not for an Instagram picture or TikTok, but for you. Because despite how monotonous and mundane life can get, it's your life, and there's beauty to be appreciated there. Something that I've been working on and I feel like I've been getting better over time with is telling my story. Whether it's, job interviews and they're asking me about my life story, or medical school interviews, just getting to know my peers, and eventually down the road, residency interviews, I realized that being able to tell your story and verbalize your story is a very, very important skill to have. So not too long ago, I made a video talking about how I failed out of the first year of medical school and I had to repeat the year. And I talked about how I knew that during my residency interview trail, they'd probably ask me about that. And I wanted to be able to sit there in the interview chair and tell them that repeating the first year of medical school was probably the best thing that ever happened in my life. It's been over a year since I found out that I had to repeat my first year of medical school, and now that I passed the first year successfully, I can say that those words are slowly becoming more and more true. And this perspective that I had started bleeding into other aspects of my life. And I realized that this is a really big difference between us being the main characters of our lives and the main characters of movies and books and other kinds of fiction. In movies and TV shows, the script is written and these characters' fates are already determined. That's not the case for us, because the ones who are actively writing our stories is us. We put in the work to decide which way our story goes. I decided that repeating my first year of medical school would be a pivotal moment in my life that I would grow from, and that's the path that I began to embark. However, I could have easily have decided that it was a sign to quit on this career path and aim for something different. Would this alternative path have led to a happier or more successful version of myself? Or would it have led to a sadder and more regretful version of myself? It's impossible to really know for sure, because I chose a different path, and there's no use in looming over it now. Instead, I chose to embrace the path that I'm following and decided to take the initiative in order to write the story how I want it. If you're at a standstill in life or at a crossroads, I challenge you to ask yourself, how do you want this to end? If your life was a movie that started from this very moment, where do you want this story to end up? And what steps do you think you need to take in order to get there? Today is the start of that journey, and where you get to decide just what kind of protagonist you want to be. So our life is a story, and our actions, our mentality, our attitude is the ink and the pen that gets to write and determine where this story ends up. But let's keep it real here. Things in life don't really ever go to plan, do they? You can pick the safest and most secure route, but things can still go completely sideways. And that's on the macro scale. On the micro scale, there's always things that don't go the way we want. If you truly want to romanticize your life, you're going to have to eventually learn how to enjoy the ride and embrace these unpredictable times. There are so many times where I hype myself up to break a new PR in the gym, just to fail in spectacular fashion. Times where I studied hard, walked out of an exam room thinking I killed it, just to have barely passed. Times where I thought I created the best video that's ever been uploaded onto YouTube, just to have vastly underperformed on views and interactions. But you know what? Those videos that didn't perform well still got views, and each of those viewers are the main characters of their own story that took the time out to watch my video, and I greatly appreciate that. Finally hitting the PRs that I've been training so hard to get and failed to get through, or acing an exam after having a streak of exams where I didn't perform my best, that makes the victory so much sweeter. Those failures taught me lessons that pushed me towards eventually excelling and succeeding. You only have one life to live. You might as well treat yourself like the main character of the story and appreciate your journey. By romanticizing both the exciting and the mundane parts of your life, you're allowing yourself to be fully present with your life and experiences. And this goes without saying, it's very obvious, but don't use becoming the main character of your life as an excuse to impose your ego or impose your self-centered thoughts onto other people, right? Instead, use it as a way to give yourself permission to fall in love with your own life, even if you're knowing that you're just a side character or you're just a NPC in someone else's life. In your life, you're the main character. Your journey, your experiences, the way you think, the way you breathe, the way you just are, makes you one of one in this planet filled with billions of people. So you are the main character of your own life. Own it and let it empower you to just fall in love with every single aspect of your life, the good and the bad, the big or the small. If you made it this far in the video, thank you guys so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. And I want to ask you, since you're the main character of your own story, what steps do you take in order to fall in love with your own life and romanticize your own life? I'd love to hear it. So go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.